Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Piper Academy. Welcome to the morning market report. And today we have a lot of news, some big ones. Well, one that is just taking the markets by surprise. Not really by surprise. I mean, at this point, we're already used to this. A one tweet away, if you know what I'm talking about. But 50% increase on steel in tariff just announced. So what is it? What's going on? Lots of crypto. What is up, my friend? Thank you so much for that. 199. Let's see. OCFTW. Thank you, my friend. Welcome. But let me get started with you guys because you guys are the most important part of today. And I just haven't had my coffee today. I decided to go sleep a little bit longer. But let's get started with you guys. So we have username in the house. Welcome, my username. Great to have you around. We have Romain Brave. Welcome. We have Diulu Hi. Oh, he says. We have Alexander GG. What is up, Alexander G? Welcome. Ninja Glock. Welcome, my friend. Nice to have you. Nonaro Cabrera. What is up, brother? We have Harp. What's up, my friend? No OJ today. No coffee today. I'm just running late, but I'll absolutely prepare mine right after the show. Man, I already have my fresh orange juice and it's getting ready to receive that coffee. Love it. All right, so let's see who else we got in here. We have Average Crypto Joe. What is up? Crypto Trace in the house. What is up, my friend? We have who else we have in here? Harp Jesse. What is up, Jesse? Welcome, my friend. Donar Carrera already shouted you out, my friend. Who is in here also? Lost on Crypto. Welcome, my friend. And already, thank you for that donation. Really like it. That. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Who else we got in here? JCC or J Corona. What's up, Corona? What's up, my friend? And Crypto Princess. What's up, Crypto Princess? Thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. So let's get started. All right. So Piper's not going to be here for today. He's doing his new home stuff. Hopefully he gets ready soon because his studio, man, he already have given me a detour on how he's gonna be looking like, and it's looking fantastic. So I think there's a lot of things to still he has to do. You know, when you're moving, things get a little intense in there. But other than that, let's dive into the news because we have a lot of things to go over. So let's get it. All right, so let's get started here with Bitcoin. Well, you know what? Let's go a little bit farther back. Let's get started with CME gap. 16 days, 2 weeks and 1 day around to have the next FOMC meeting. Numbers haven't changed that much, just a little bit increasing here from, I remember, what was it, 2.8, something like that, around to 48.47, basically still a big chunk, getting either stay the same or a slight cut in the rates. So 425 current to 450, which is what is expected, basically just getting at the same numbers. But we'll see. I want to see how is it going to be playing out after today's number. Let's see if that changes because that has to do with other key factors in the market today. 8 a.m. ISM manufacturing PMI on May, so 48.5. Previous, it actually we see a decrease, so this is going to be the third consecutive segment that we see a little shrinking in here in the manufacturing PMI. So we already are seeing that not cool. We might be seeing some contraction in economy. So basically looking at these numbers, well, we see maybe that we could be pushing into a rate cuts a little bit farther for this upcoming 2 weeks, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Weeks wife, what is up? Welcome to the crypto space. Welcome to the Piper Academy. Nice. Great to have you here. So United States ISM manufacturing PMI, the SMA manufacturing PMI is a US slipped of 4.7 in April 2025 from 49 in March, which is we were talking about, right? And currently we are at, what was it? We have it here. Numbers. 48.7. out of 49. So big chunk or big slip in there in March, slightly above market expectation of 48. The reading signal a second consecutive, and I said it third, so second consecutive month of contraction in the manufacturing sector as output shrank more sharply. 4.4 versus 48.3, and price rose further at 69.8 versus 69.4. So we're seeing that shrinkage in here. That also might be slightly changing. We'll see how that goes. Let's get started with the crypto news or the X-Market stuff, because this is wild in here in this space. So breaking, by the way, by Bitcoin Magazine, breaking Russian largest bank, and this is very interesting, launches a structure bonus link in Bitcoin. I know I did not read this. I'm going to be absolutely butchering here, especially today, that I cannot even read names for some reason. But, well, let's give it a try. It's Better Bank. Well, but that wasn't that bad. Hopefully I pronounced it great. So other than that, this is something to, I would say, keep an eye on. Remember, what was it? I think last cycle, not quite sure, I believe at December, where we were seeing, or January 2024, we were seeing Russia saying, yeah, welcome Bitcoin or crypto miners, right? And then he said, no, not crypto mining allowed, and also we're not going to be doing crypto. And then they would, oh yeah, well, it's not forbidden, and they just start changing opinion, like back and forth, right? But this seeing an actual institution, right, largest bank, well, then that tells you that there's actually come to a decision, and they're going implement it in the largest bank out there. So, well, that has to be seen. It seems a very fantastic and optimistic Bitcoin news. Nonetheless, remember, Bitcoin is part of the risky market, and that has to do with what goes on the world in big economics, right? So the Kobayashi letter, the strange part about this weekend's event, so Ukraine's carried out a drone attack on Russia, which reportedly took out 30% plus of Russia's strategic cruise missile carriers. That was a big attack. This is being described as Russia's Pearl Harbor. Ooh, that is a big name, I would say. One of those most advantageous attacks of Russia in history. Furthermore, Ukraine has stated that the U.S. was not involved in the attack. Great. Stocks, that is perfect. Thanks. Because if not, remember, the retaliation might be coming all across the board. Hopefully, that's not going to be the case. And they made sure that they did not. They stated that the U.S. was not part of it. Stocks are falling. Oil prices are up. So not good. And natural gas price are 7% plus on this news. So why is that? Well, then we know there's a very conflictive area right there. If the surrounding countries might get involved, we might be seeing a couple of things. Remember last time some oil ducts were affected, they were attacked, and they were closed. Remember those, the ones that are affected, I believe, Germany. So that is something that we don't want to see. Still now, we see a price of oil increasing 4%. We're going to take a look at those charts in a minute. And also, well, gas prices, again, increasing in 7%. Again, not good, but this is what happens when you get a big attack and in a big conflict right there on that area of the country. Well, there's two main. Another one, it is around Egypt area, but we'll hopefully nothing happens or extends over that zone, man. I think that we're sick and tired of seeing that part of the world always having a conflict. This is effectively the market pricing out of the Russia-Ukraine peace deal. This is effectively the market pricing out the Russia-Ukraine peace deal in the President Trump's has been working on for 3 months plus. However, we have yet to receive a single comment from the U.S. of President Trump. So we'll see what he says. Clearly, something is going on behind the scenes. Do you think so? Well, then who could have known, right? Another thing from the call yesterday, companies are deep green after this weekend's Ukraine's drone attack on Russia. The market is unfortunately pricing out a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. So gold going high. So this is usually what we see when a safe haven is needed. Uncertainty in the markets. Well, then also we see gold. Look at that, plus 2%. XAU, well, we already know this is also gold. At 3,360 and 2%, very similar. Silver, again, very similar. Copper, twice as we see silver and gold riking up. Oil, well, 4%. Natural gas, 6%. Well, everything that is related to gas, gold, and silver, and copper, of course, is just rising up like crazy. Frank the Tank in the house. What is up, my friend? And by the way, if you are in here and I have not shouted out, let me know. We have Buck in the house. What is up, my friend? Welcome. We also have Shimetris. What is up? Hopefully I have not butchered that name. Thank you so much for stopping by and let me know how is it going. JR in the house. What is up, my friend? Welcome. Great to hear you. Great to have you here. And also we have Pennywise. What is up, Pennywise? Really nice to have you around. Let's keep going with the actual headlines of today. Breaking: President Donald Trump says he's a great honor to rise tariff on both steel and aluminum from 25 to 50% beginning on June the 4th. So we are 2 days out of those tariffs taking effect on that. And then we're just seeing those prices are going higher and higher and higher. Things might be getting out of control. We're most certainly going to be seeing the results in the markets. In fact, we are just seeing that as we speak with the numbers changing, and also, well, with gold just ranking up very, very, very fast. So let's take a look at what else we have in here. And also give me just 1 second. Here it is. Perfect. What else do we have in here? Let's see. 5 things, and this 5 things that you need to know before the stocks market opens. Well then, yep, but the news from today, we can see the US futures are pointing lower as investors review comments from China. Well, of course, that accused the US of undermining their recent trade agreement between the two countries. President Donald Trump said he would double tariff on steel imports to 50%, where he will be doing in 2 days. Of course, sending U.S. steel market stocks higher in pre-market trading. So we'll see how that plays out after, right before it happens. Federal Reserve China Jerome Powell is set to deliver remarks today. So haven't we heard that he's gonna get fired? I don't know. We'll see how that goes. And Blueprints Medicines BPMC stock is soaring after French pharmaceutical firm Sanofi. Man, what a name. Said it will require the U.S. Drug market. Here's what investors need to know. So a couple of things is U.S. stock futures fall. Investors consider China tariff comments. I think this is going to be important. We already have talked about this at the beginning. Everything like metals going up. Well, NASDAQ futures are 0.5% lower. So most of that has to do with futures. They are kind of like going down, not too stable. Also, Bitcoin BTC is low. We'll have to talk about that because remember when we start drawing the trend line, you're right. And remember I told you guys the trend, it's broken. Well, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news, right? So it's not that I want to say that Bitcoin is reacting to the news. Of course it is. But we already have seen some weakness on Bitcoin, right? We went over how Bitcoin was breaking out the trend line, and not only breaking out a trend line, a very important trend line, but also maybe we could be seeing some retracement to 93 at the worst, but the best case scenario ranging and holding its pace. Let's see how that played out. By the way, we did had a setup entry for Bitcoin on trading with OC, and we actually nailed it. Hopefully you guys follow up on that trade scenario, and we should be already out of that trade. China accused US of undermining trade deal in response to Trump. Absolutely, we already have talked about this. We see that China is also trying to defend against this, and we see this also in other headlines. China rejects Trump's accusations that is breach Geneva trade deals. So June the 2nd, we already know, China said in Monday to US, and by the way, so sorry, let me see if I can change that. Much better. Uh-oh, no I can't. It doesn't do it. Sorry for blinding you guys on there, but yeah, I mean, I cannot make this darker. So job reports could be early things on tariff. Cause remember what we mentioned, that the numbers might be pushing through this previous or throughout these 15 days. Well then, I think we'll see how that goes. Job report could be just giving us a surprise. Hopefully they are good surprises instead of bad surprises. In the crypto space, Ethereum shows a big bullish sign after reclaiming the 2,700. And guys, hashtag, you know what is it coming? Let me know in the side chat. Hashtag what? Hashtag F Ethereum, of course. So let's go to the charts, and let me get my charts prepared because I think that I did not get them on time. So let's just bring it up here, and let's just do that intermission. Let's just pretend that we have a charts ready here. And we got charts ready. Wink, wink. So let's go to super charts, and let's get started with the Bitcoin trade that we did take. This is where we left out last time that you guys were here with me on the trading with OC. We were learning about Bollinger Bands, right? So BB. Something important about Bollinger Bands is one of my favorite topics because it implements one of my favorite analysis, which are directional trading. It involves, not the phrase, it just slipped out of my head. Go watch the video. It's very nerdy, but I do explain to you in full what happened here. This was our entry. We were on the second candle coming back down. We knew we had some supports. Here we have our support. Look at that. What are the blue lining here? We did not have it at the time, just so you know. It reacted right after we set up our position. We have a reaction shown right down here. We decided to go up slightly above, and that is because we had, let me show you, dynamic reactor in here, and also we had, I believe, there we go, a area of interest right down here. Not only that, we also had, there we go, our money flow PLC in the way, and also we have the bottom of a channel. Going to the VPVR, we did have a spike above there, so we started measuring and moving slightly above and below our entry to compensate and try to get the best price possible. And our FIVP showed us that the possible target was down here. Well, then it did not play out exactly as a possible target, but again, it actually played out very nicely. Now we're seeing a possible played out all the way up here, somewhere around 106 as a possibility. Nonetheless, we should be already out of this trade on TP number 2, move our stop to entry, and just a 25% in. So we enter TP number 1, TP number 2, right? And then I have closed my trade. If you follow just the actual instructions, you still should be on 25% in. If that is so, not financial advice, but I would consider closing it and maybe waiting for a possible re-entry. And that is because we are falling back behind our dynamic reactor, and look at our candles in our RSI prime. Let's go and take a look at what's happening here. This is what we were expecting. Remember, a flip of that movement, so losing strength while we were going upwards in our volumetric measurement. So what's next in here? I want to see a little diamond in here. And when I see that little diamond, I will be trying to maybe catch up the next possible entry. If this goes up and then breaks out, that doesn't really matter. I will be jumping back in here again with half of positions. And we'll see why in a second. Let me start changing my trading scenario. So let me just save this. Let's change it to where we left out on the previous actual morning market report. And let's follow up in here. So by the way, Ethereum, oh my goodness. Boom shakalaka. Well, this is, by the way, the 15 minutes. So if we take a look at the 4 hour, it is a huge run up that we were looking for. So let me just clear this up. And what we got in here, a big breakout of this trend line. It's not about the breakout. We did not have an actual retest, but what we have with was correction over time. So we're right now on a range. So what do we do in the range? Well, first we buy lows, we sell highs on a range. Let's see, why is my, there we go. We buy lows, we sell highs. At this point, I don't want to call out for a full position entry right now. We are in the green, but we are below the zero line, which indicates that for some reason, we're feeling some bearish. We're not having enough momentum. Although our prime score, it's very, very, very high here. And our consolidation score is telling us that we're about to break that consolidation. So what does that mean? It means a possible entry. All right. So in my playbook, for me, that will be a possible long in here. And not financial advice, guys. I'm going to be aiming for my previous lows, then looking at another important low zone in here, somewhere around here, and then give it a little bit of that wiggle room based on these candle wicks. I'm going to be aiming at the top, and is it above one? Barely above one. So because this is a dangerous trade, I'm going to go half of a position right there. So just so you know, this might be taking me a couple of minutes for me to actually take this trade because we are live right now and I have not yet opened up my broker to take the live trading with you guys. Nonetheless, if you want to take this, remember it is under your own responsibility. Do use a stop loss, enter with a half a position and manage your leverage. We don't want you being neither on cross, all right, neither on doing some crazy leverage at this point. Still, this is looking a little bit bullish because we are right on support, especially dynamic reactor. Let's do a little pausing here. Let's bring up the rest of our indicators. Let's just make sure that we are on spot right here and we're just not undermining whatever might be happening in the background. All right, so let's do that really quickly. 1 second here. All right. And let's take a look at the rest of our indicators. So we have a quantum reactor coming up right in here. So that is a good sign. Hopefully it doesn't actually burst through and we hold the price action in there. We have a support, double support in here. One here with a green line and the other one is the POC. It's a big support area. What else do we have? We are on equilibrium. Usually equilibrium, it is a ranging zone. What else do we have? We have here a support area. So we could be expecting maybe some flip, some wick downwards in here. So that's why we are considering this area and also giving it a little bit of that wiggle room. We're trying to protect our entry. Something important here is that if we do this and then we start flipping back down, well then this is over. You take the loss and you close your trade. But if we see this and then we see a continuation and break through our zero line, hold it, and most likely you could be even re-adding to your position in here after or right after we get, or right before we get to the top of the range. Something important is that we are on 9 on the range, so there is a real chance that we actually break through the range. Remember, this is telling me break the range, but it's not telling me where is it going to be breaking it out. It could be breaking it out to the downside, right? So that's why it's a dangerous trade, and that's why we're going with half of a position. But so far, not looking that bad, looking that we have kind of like a goose head. Let's take a look at what happened last time we have that goose head. and we actually pumped in here. Look at that. We went slightly below, all right? Look at how, and let me start marking it point by point. So we had the goose head, we must move slightly below, and then we pumped, retracement, pump. All right, so that's what happened throughout the goose head scenario. So what are we having here? Maybe we could be having the little retracement. Hopefully our stop loss, it is calculated correctly. I'm hoping for that, right? And then the pump. And finally, because we have a high consolidation score, possibly we could be running to the upside. So what else do we have? Some reaction zones, perfect, at the same two areas. So that gives me confidence on my stop loss. It's still below our area of entry. We have a loud order block right down here. This actually subtracts some of that confidence that I had on my support. Why? Because we have two soft order blocks which are easier to break, but this loud order block is creating a strong reaction or strong magnetic force to the price action. So again, that's why we're going half of the price. If we break out, retest, and then we do not make it through, and if we reject in here, well then that's when we're taking the short. All right, so that's where I'm gonna be going for a head switch, somewhere around here, stop loss right above our area of order blocks, and then aiming, of course, at the top of that order block. So that's what I'm gonna be leaving it at. I'm gonna try to be taking that trade as soon as we are out of the class, just so I can log in and log out of my broker. So there we go. Let's take a look at a couple of other stuff, guys. I posted my Ethereum trade I took with you in the Piper Academy just now. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it. Drew, what's up? How is it going, my friend? Half a position post. Lol. I love it, bro. Drew, morning. Welcome, my friend. Nice to have you around. Great to have you here. Of course, we have, I think that's it. Jesse, I don't know if I shout out to you, my friend. And hashtag FEthereum. Good, got this. All right, let's go and take a look at a high or a bigger look into Bitcoin. All right, this is where we left out. So a little bit more zoomed out in that area. Let me just get rid of a couple of things, right? And let's re-add them as we go because it's getting a little bit messy. Let's actually also get rid of this analysis of the inverted head and shoulders, but we'll see that we are creating a downwards channel. Usually that downwards channel tends to break to where? Usually downwards channel tends to break to the upside, all right? So is that bullish? Well, then let me tell you that we're having a goose head, not in the best area at this point, right? But we're having a goose head and it is above the zero line. How is our prime score? Still not reacting to that, so it's still pretty bearish, but we're riding across this line. What is that line? That is a manual line that I draw here by grabbing these supports, right? And then also by analyzing this broadening wedge. And as you can see, it's just being fired. This trend line in here, which is the median of the megaphone, it's being right on spot every single time that we get there. So far, we just have had break it once. Hopefully this is not the second time, right? But Bitcoin so far is still holding its ground. So as you can see, I was expecting a push to the upside right at that zone, maybe a little bit of sweep of the lows, right? So that sweep of the low went slightly below. We already have our movement to the upside. That's the one that we took advantage of, the 4 hours. This trading here that we took together, right? TP number 1, TP number 2, and then retracement downwards. Right now, we are bouncing back up in here. I hope that we see that high being implemented here, and finally going to our next trend line, which is this one in here. Let me even zoom out further. All right, this is let's go to the daily. I would say this is what I want to show you. Well, am I on the right chart? No, I am not for some reason. All right, perfect. This is something that I wanted to show you. This is the one, right? Remember that we've been talking about this high, being this high. So far, so good. All right. So far we can identify almost peer to peer, right? What's been going on in right now, right? In the markets. So another thing that has happened here, oh, and why cannot remove that for some reason? All right, perfect. Is that things are having or have been playing out earlier of what I was expecting. So look at that. I was expecting this to happen here or even later, to be honest, right? And just so you know, I took this out of the previous cycle right from here. So I just copied these candles all the way up here and then this retracement all the way up here and then the retracement, all right? Just so you know where this is coming from. So far we see that everything is playing out faster and sooner that I was expecting. Nonetheless, this high represented in here as this other high with a possible push through this upper zone, which by the way did not happen, right? It was just a, there we go, a possibility. We have a confirmed push through, right, or rejection. Here is something that I see that we could be forming a head and shoulders at this zone, all right? We need to take that into consideration because we're just coming down and bouncing up out of this movement downwards. Let me clear this up so we can see it much cleanly, right? So maybe shoulder, a head, and then a possible shoulder that could be somewhere around 108, 109 at the most, all right? So we'll see, maybe we can have that on daily. We are kind of like ready to break the zero line. We could be saved because we could be looking at, let me show you how that looks like, something like that, right? It is not all said and done. I think we can have that movement. And if that is the case, we're going to be making, right here the drop down, right? The double bottom or some bottoming signals, right? So maybe we drop down the double bottom, some bottoming signals, complementing or finishing that head and shoulders and maybe push to the upside. If not, my actual expectation is that we go and test the dynamic reactor in here, all right? So we need to be a little bit careful out there. So let's bring up Cryptobubbles really quickly, and let's see how that goes. We're getting almost at the end of the show. Just force you, shout me out. Thank you, my friend. All right, so I want you guys to tell me what you guys are looking for, and if you want to go over any specifics on crypto today, because Monero out of the dead. Look at that, white. Haven't seen that. Can I trade it? No, I cannot trade it, so I'm not going to be actually trading it. So we'll see. Nonetheless, we'll take a look at that. It is pretty interesting. Monero, not really, I cannot trade it anymore. I do hold a little bit of Monero, just so you know, because of the old times. MKR, I can trade it. That's the one that I also have here. Virtual's not doing great. PAXG, which is gold, of course, going up. Bunk, really interesting, going up. Sky, I can trade it. I do have these two, but we'll see how that goes. All right, TAR, not looking that great. And FLR, which we can trade, it's looking fantastic. So let's get started with white in here. Guys, again, let me know if you are looking at something in specific, and well, then we can take a look at that. So white rock, we'll see how that goes. Let's see, crypto, and we're looking for white rock. Here is, oh, I do have Mexi, so maybe I can trade it. So not too much of volume here, not too much of a history. I'm not trading this at all. This is just, I think it's going to be a pump and dump. I don't know what might be technicals behind this, but also we are getting to rejection zones. I'd rather just wait going lower into this support area. And then once we're here, maybe going up. Maybe I'll just add an early alert right there. So what else do we have in here? Let's take a look at Cryptobubbles and let's go to the next one, Monero. So let's take a look at Monero, because Monero might be very interesting. All right, I don't have it anymore. Oh, I see why. There we go. I do still have it. Let's add it at red. All right, perfect. So Monero having a parabolic run up. Oh, look at that. All right, so don't get the FOMO here. We were expecting this movement going upwards, right? Not as violent, to be honest. But nonetheless, we did see that momentum. Be careful with Monero. It's a dead coin. Not really too many developers working on it. Hey, Mike, play. What's up? Look at Dodge on Bitcoin. Doug on Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely. We can take a look at Doug. Kit. So absolutely, let's take a look at Kit. So let's get started. Let me finish with this one and then we move forward. Again, I believe that this could be a head and shoulders. This could be a cricket area of head and shoulders. We have an inverse goose heading here. So that means a little retracement to then a further movement to the upside. So, sorry, to the downside in here, all right? So this is what I'm expecting, maybe finding support on the dynamic reactor. So far, I'm not gonna be trading this until or unless I see some morphology acting upon this, which will indicate me maybe that we're not on a head and shoulders, but we are on maybe on a triangle here. And if we are on a triangle, maybe we can take advantage of that. But look at these lows, too low to maybe to be into triangles. Not really some highs that I can take as a resistance. Some soft order blocks in here maybe. We'll see how that goes. But let me add an alert right there because I could be shorting Monero at that zone. So let's get started with your request. Let's do K. What was it? TA. All right, let's add it. KTA. Is it wrap Ethereum? Or let's go for the USDT on Polynix, crypto, bluffing. I think let's go with bluffing. I do have the kind of bluffing. And let me just get rid of this one. Oh, all right. Not too much reading here, my friend. But let's try to do it. All right, let's go maybe to 30 minutes. 30 minutes, I think we might have something. We're just in a range, right? So we trade as a range. We buy low, we sell high, right? At this point, yeah, it looks like we're making a rising wedge in here. Usually rising wedges tend to break to the downside. We have a bearish divergence, still, despite we're very bullish and our consensus score, it is flat. So it usually means more ranging. I would not be jumping into a trading here until I have a reversal. In my next possible entry, it's going to be or could be somewhere. And let me just aim at here for my alert. Alert, non-entry, all right? Alert, non-entry. And then when the price action comes all the way here, I would be considering maybe taking a trade. So far, let's see how that dynamic reactor plays out, because we could be hitting dynamic reactor and maybe a V-shaped recovery with any further move to the downside. That's why this is not an entry. This is only alert. So I can see what are we doing. If we're bouncing right down here, well, then I'm going to be taking the short. And if we're breaking through here, well, then I'm going to be taking a long as we go up. But yep, that's what I got on KTA. Let's take a look at what was the other one, DOG. All right, we have DOG USDT. You say DOG on Bitcoin. I don't really know. What do you mean? Can you maybe clarify that? Mike play. So is it DOG versus Bitcoin? Is that it? Like Bitcoin BTC? This is Dutch coin. USDT. I don't see it. Let's get started in here with this one. In the meantime, you answer me. In the meantime, I see your response. All right. So Doug not looking good at all. There's not actually signs of bottoming down. This looks to me like a flat pause of bearish continuation. We're pretty low. Our volatility is still high. Consolidation score is high, so that means more consolidation, but also about to break that consolidation. Usually when we see a big movement like this, and then we see this kind of like ranging, unless we have a breakout retest and then a continuation as we go up, we will not be seeing a reversal. This is looking okay. This is not looking that bad. This is 30 minutes. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let me clear this up. Yeah, 4 hours not looking that great either, because yes, we are on the green, but look at how far away we are from our dynamic reactor. So what I would say in here, we're still pretty bearish, and consolidation score, it is high. So I would say maybe a little bit more movement to the right, maybe slightly tilted up ranging here. Nothing too crazy, and this looks to me like a flat pause of bearish continuation. Let me bring up a couple of other indicators to see what else. Yep, we are having a trend line, so maybe do expect a little bit more range, and then on the trend line, maybe we could be seeing that continuation, areas of possible entry. I see a reaction zone in here with a support. That's looking great. For then to look into that zone for then a reversal. All right, and I'm not calling for reversals just now. I'm just saying that that could be a zone. All right, fixing this a little bit lower, and that is because we have two supports. So maybe with the strength, we can go somewhere around here, and then if we break the retest of, we go and make a higher high and higher low, that's when we start looking for the actual full-fledged reversal. Let me see. Good morning, you all. What's up, my friend? My great gate has dog. Good morning. Could you do MSTI? Absolutely, Louis B. Let me just wrap this up and let's move into that one. So basically, that is it. I mean, not much to see here. Let's see what else do I have. Too low. I mean, too far away here. High order block. The only thing that might mean looking into going here could be this high order block, but that would be right where the dynamic reactor is going to be, or very close. I mean, I did actually measure this like that, right? So if we get here, that will be, I know it's highly bullish. But other than that, I think that we're either ranging, flip of the lows, and then a movement to the upside. But so far, I'm not touching dog until I see this breakout. So when I start seeing it breaking out, that's when I start looking for that movement. Because if not, I believe this is just a shrink version of this or this, if that makes sense. So look at that, how we have that little U pattern, right? That little U pattern, maybe taking into dynamic reactor or the order block that is being formed in there. Let me get you Louis B. So MSTY, perfect. So MSTY is that which one am I looking at? The Nasdaq? Sorry, the New York session. MSTY. Is this the one? Let me know, my friend. Louis B. How can I like your comment? Perfect. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to proceed with this one. Let me know if that is the correct one. And I'll just correct it if that is the case. Let me see. You should be already seeing it at this point. ETF. All right. So it was an ETF. Let me see. Yeah, that is the one, right? Yeah, the ETF. Perfect. I think I nailed it. All right. Let's go. For you mentioned the 1 day. Let me get started on the 1 day and let's go to the 4 hours because I think that we might have some redemption. Let me clear this up. We have nothing here, but here is something that's going on. Look at the pattern that I'm seeing here, right? I don't want to give you that much hope, all right? But this is looking interesting. Look at that. We have the blow off top, right? And then at the bottom, right when we are below the dynamic reactor, we have a low, a sweep of the lows with a double bottom, right? And then breakout, double breakout, retest, off we go, all right? If we do the same from top to bottom, this is actually the closest trend line. I think there is a better one in here. I think this could be the one that we could be looking at. Close enough, and then actually respect this one very nicely. It's not about your breakout, it's about your retest. Not only that, you have a double bottom, sweep of the lows, or even triple bottom, technically a higher high, all right? Technically a higher high, and then what are we forming here? A higher low. So we have a hidden bullish divergence and a reversal. I would love to see it breaking through the dynamic reactor, right? Infinite Team TA, what's up, my friend? So at this point, I would love to see it maybe doing some more of this ranging downwards, as we may have that double bottom as we have seen here, right? Or something like that. And then when we're breaking through the zero line, that's when I start trading it. So I know that we could have catch the bottom in here, right there. And especially because where's the POC? And at this point, we're riding across the resistance. So longing resistances, not really something that I like to do, all right? I know we're at the bottom, seems like we could be going up, but taking consideration that we also could be making that double bottom here, which could be leading to still a higher low, all right, but just getting you a worst entry. That's all day. Let's see in the 4 hours if we can catch something faster or something a little bit more accurate in here. So far, let me close everything here. So far, we did broke through. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. We failed the retest with a dead cat bounce. Not good, all right? We have a higher low. That is good. We have a higher high. That is good. We are piercing through the zero line. I want to see this action. I want to see this, and this is going to be my entry. So I think we could be following the 4 hours for maybe an early entry here on MicroStrategy. Yeah, I think so. So that would be it for today. So let's wrap it up. Let's just take one more look into Bitcoin. And I do need to run away, guys, because I have another class. And also, I want to take the Bitcoin, not the Bitcoin, sorry, what was it? The Ethereum trade in here. So how's it going? Back into a possible entry zone. I still hold my ground in here. Look at that. We're moving slightly. Same deal. So yeah, maybe a better entry in here. Infinite Team TAs, send 5 Piper Academy's gift memberships. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. It went to Drew, Luis B, Brokoshi, No Dinero, Eric's Silent, and Mr. Z. Guys, welcome. Remember to go exchange it in the Piper Academy Discord because you guys have a lots of newbie goodies in there. By the way, Monday. Today it's Monday, and today what we got, remember, we have the release of the DCA data. So go take a look at it, check it out, and see how much are we going to be pushing today into that beautiful DCA. Guys, let's go to the solo here. Guys, thank you so much for joining the Piper Academy. Thank you so much for sticking around in here. Thank you so much for your likes. Also, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your donations. And by the way, quick little reminder, click that like button. And as always, see you guys tomorrow. And I don't know, where do I lost my stuff in here. Ending curious. All right, guys. See you guys tomorrow.
We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling up the wheels flow low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, former Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Car Prime, then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling up the wheels flow low. Sound off.
To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
That was awesome, dude!